So you can see here, second day this is, and look how much is in that crop. 3 chicks, he's at the lot left there on his own. Don't worry if yours took a while longer. Some birds certainly won't eat for a while, a couple of days, if not nearly a week. But this guy, he's tucked in straight away. Being smaller, colder weather, yeah, small birds do like their grub quick.
Grandad to you, she's looking at you going, Grandad! What you got? Excited! Wow! Ready?
So we've done our 5 days of taking a bird out hooded in the morning. He's already hooded at night. You're not terrifying that bird as you approach it first thing. It doesn't know you, it's still scared of you. Makes my life easier. As long as that hood's not rubbing on his eyes or around the corners of his gape, his lips if you like. Putting him out on his bow perch, leaving some food behind or to the side of the perch, pulling the hood off, walking away. Spy on him by all means, but leave that bird alone. Let it settle, let it feed. If you've got a bird that's fed the first day on the bow perch like this one, great. It took him about 3 days to not just sit next to his bow perch, to actually regain the perch. Always help the bird, make into it, pick it up, sit it on its perch. It will actually learn that the perch is better than sitting on the ground. I'm doing it in the freezing of winter, you're doing it in summer. Remember, in the shade. Don't let the bird keep baiting. If it's just baiting solidly, intervene. Pick the bird up, hood it, do it the braces, sit it on its perch, let it calm down in the shade. You haven't put a water bowl there, remember, refer back to the last videos. We've had this bird now 5 days later. He eats straight away. As soon as the hood's off, I'm out of sight, he jumps on his food. You've got a bird that's not starving, not losing weight. It's eating as much as it wants to eat so far. We're doing manning, using the hood so it's not terrified. I've took this bird everywhere, immersed it in amongst my dogs, my granddaughter. We've been out here and there. Relatively short sessions, but you can do 2 or 3 a day. We're not fed this bird on the glove anywhere to do with us, no food at all. Now it's time to start training. The bird already comfortable to eat in its newfound world, what was a terrifying world of being tethered, and oh, how weird must it be? It's getting used to it. It's seen loads of stuff, it's got used to you, you've been kind to it, and the hood has really helped you be kind to that bird and not let it get massively stressed by anything. It's seen everything, but not been stressed by anything. So yesterday, I'll overlay this. Fed the bird on the glove for the first time. I walked up to his perch in the garden, his bow perch. I tipped him a chick leg now and again, very gently. Food provider suddenly becomes me. He's had a week of independence. We want to keep that as short as possible. We need to get through the training, the feeding, and get him out hunting and independent now as soon as we can without rushing him. Yesterday I fed him on the glove, no problem at all. That will be the last time this guy gets fed in my garden while he's a youngster. Don't feed your birds in your garden in the training and youngster stage. Do not train them in your garden. Yes, people will get away with it, but this is the problem you're going to have. How are you going to put the bird on a creance in your garden without it getting tangled on your washing line or going over the hedge next door? The worst side is you feed and train in your garden in their immediate territory. You are on a road to creating aggression from your hawk and creating a screamer. This guy's already getting vocal. One day, I shortchanged him yesterday. He had 2/3 of his food of normal than he's had all week. See what he does today. Once that habit forms, you won't stop it. And you don't want aggression, your hawk or eagle or whatever being aggressive to you in your property. You don't need to train it in your garden. You're going to fly it free, for goodness sakes. It's not a pet. You haven't brought this as a pet, I really hope. You've already sorted flying land. This isn't going to now go to your hunting land. This is going to go to a quiet field that's just for training at the moment. Hood's on. The braces aren't done up. We're going to stick with the chick for now. There's plenty of moisture in it and it's familiar food. and it makes weighing a bird at this stage a lot easier. You can know that this amount of chicks creates that amount of weight. So today we're tied on, we've weighed him, he's £1.5½, it's higher than he was when we collected him, and we're just going to see whether he'll just bend down and feed from the glove. Nervous tweeting. Listen to your bird, look at its body language. Your guy, you're going to feed him on the glove until he's eating well, confidently, a couple of 3 days maybe. But take him out, feed him in a quiet corner of a field on your walk, take the hood off, see if he'll feed. Don't sit in your garden doing this, because he's been eating on his own on his perch for nearly a week, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, it doesn't matter. He's confident to eat and he's got used to you. This stage should fly by. He's having some food. The biggest step in falconry for most birds would actually be to get the bird to jump, not even a leash length, to jump the minimal distance to the food. It's the biggest step in falconry. He's going to lean forward and he's terrified that he's going to fall down a chasm between the glove and the perch if he jumps. Don't have it lower, have it at the same level or a tiny bit higher. And I'll show you a trick to get your bird over this problem. Believe me, remember, yesterday was the first time he fed on the glove. By all means, give your bird 2 or 3 days of confidence building. Eat it like a pig on the glove without bothering at all before you go to this stage. Here's a trick. Put the elbow of the glove on the perch. He hasn't got to jump, he's only got to step. Psychological. It will make a big difference to that bird. And there he is. So he didn't jump, he stepped on the glove. It's a massive difference. Don't be worried about getting your bird to hop and think, oh, it's just going back, it doesn't want to do it, it's nervous. Let it walk across onto the glove. Just have the elbow there so it can't lean, it's got to get on the glove. For today's lesson, there's no point pushing him. I've already pushed him a little bit for this video. I'm just going to feed him the rest of his food on the glove somewhere different again, not in my garden. And I'll catch up with you in a day or two's time. Okay, so I've sat the little guy out. I'm up at the Falconry Centre while I work. We've done his feeding first. We don't want him to be sitting around waiting for food. Another way that'll increase your chances of a bird that's vocal and screams. I'll try and cover that a bit more later in the video. So we sat him out. It's completely different. Last week, permafrost. This week, up to 15 degrees, wet and windy, on and off. I've sat him out. It started heavy downpouring. He's wet. Really important, guys. Now, remember, I have to keep saying this, but at the end of the day, I'm training a 17-week-old now, Harris Hawk, in the middle towards the end of January now. I think you're going to be training your young hawk in the summer, realistically. Even in the summer, if your bird is soaked through in a torrential downpour, all of its feathers are soaked to the under down, that thing can still get hypothermia. Put it in your house, in a travel box, a thick layer of newspaper in the bottom of that box, put it in your house. It's going to be warm in there overnight. Let it dry. If not, do what we do. Dry it with a hairdryer. Some hairdryer elements have Teflon in, just like your frying pan in your house. Bear this in mind if your bird is in the house, any bird in your house. If Teflon overheats, the fumes it gives off is fatal. It's toxic. It's not good for you, but it will kill birds outright. You dry your birds with a hairdryer. That Teflon element overheats. It is likely to poison, suffocate, poison with gas your bird. I can't tell you guys which hairdryers to get. We've usually used the really, really small, cheap ones that never had a problem. I'm working on the fact they're cheaper. They've got a much basic element, but I really don't know. I can't advise you. You need to do your research. A hairdryer, especially with Harris Hawks, will be an invaluable tool at some point, but make sure it does not have Teflon in that element. So this guy now, I'm going to pick him up. He is wet. Winter, remember, it's warm today. It's going to be cold overnight, and I'm going to dry him off. And then he's going to spend the night in a box in my house as well. Air drying himself a little bit in the breeze. I'm going to give him a quick swish with a hairdryer. And as I say, I'm going to give him a box him again overnight. Very, very relaxed. This bird, I've done far less manning than you're going to be doing, I'm sure. And yeah, already we've got a bird that's chilling out, looking around. It's relaxed enough to air dry its wings out in the breeze, bless it. Feeding off the glove. Today, coming to the glove, walking onto the glove for his food. So, next step, of course, is to get this bird flying on a creance, flying to the glove. We'll be doing that in 2 seconds. So we took a step back today. We're just going to try another couple of days feeding on the glove. I kind of pushed him a little bit just for that last part of the video. He'd only been fed on the glove once. We're out and about now. We're out in the countryside. We're out with Elsie. She's over there somewhere, sniffing around. Elsie the pointer, a dog that, of course, for me is my Falconry dog. So if you've got ferrets and dogs, have that all around in that first week and all the time. Have it so they can see your ferrets playing in their hutch. Have it so your dog's in and out of the garden. Just immerse them in it from the off, not when you've trained the hawk sometime down the line. From the off, have the dog in sight, the ferrets in sight, just normality. He's tucking into a bit of quail today, a bit of quality food. But again, we're not at home doing this. In the garden, we're out and about. If needs be, stop somewhere quiet, take the hood off where maybe he can see traffic in the distance or horses or who knows what you're going to see. See if the bird will eat, give it a bit of time. If not, put the food away, have a little walk and try again somewhere else. It took about 3 minutes for Henry here to start eating on the glove. And now we're walking and we're eating at the same time. Whoops. Don't get in the trap, guys, of actually just doing stuff stationary with your hawk. If you do a lot of sort of stationary manning, whether it's at home or out and about or anywhere, and you think, well, I'm excuse the wind, there's lots for the bird to see, you've got a problem. What you'll find is when you start walking with the bird and hooded, although you've manned it to a lot of stuff, you'll probably find that bird constantly baits. As soon as you start walking, the bird starts wanting to fly. It's really annoying and it can be a persistent problem. So make sure you're carrying the bird as well as just doing manning to stuff out and about. Certainly don't hood up the hawk, take it somewhere. Oh, that's windy. Show it stuff, pop the hood on and go somewhere else. Make sure the hawk has plenty of time. Yes, you're going to lift the bird up onto the glove. Yes, you're not going to let it get stressed and collapse. You're going to pop the hood on it way before that amount of stress incurs. But certainly make sure carriage is part of the bird's manning, not just standing around letting it see stuff. It's a really annoying habit. I know people that have Harrisawks that they can't walk anywhere. The bird has to follow on or be carried hooded because they never did anything where, if you like, the bird had to learn that, no, I'm still tethered to the glove. I'm still held by the jesses even when we're walking around. Part of my job is to sit still and be calm during that as well. He's tucking in. Look at this. It's all going swimmingly. Stuff to talk about later on, probably in the next video for sure. Stuff we're going to talk about is vocalization, noisy birds. We're going to talk about telemetry fitting. We're going to talk about bells and other stuff, a little bit about your housing, but this video is about training a Harrisawk. It's not about housing a hawk. It's not about how to use telemetry. Check out the channel, plenty of stuff like that on there. If there's not, and there's stuff that we don't cover in this set, ask me. Perhaps we can do a video about something you need to know. But of course, this set's long from finished. Watch from start to finish. See you later in the video. Oh, something else we're going to talk about, of course, is food. A little bit about what you should be feeding, a little bit about the different qualities of the different foods you may feed your hawk and why. Now in falconry there's right and wrong ways to do things. There's also, I guess, different ways of doing things. But if you're going to ask what's the right way to feed a hawk on the glove, it's holding the food against your palm with your last 2 or 3 fingers. It is most certainly not holding the food between your thumb and forefinger, which has become the normal practice in the UK these days. This is the traditional way. It's the better way. If you hold the food between your thumb and forefinger, so it's on top of your glove there, I can't even roll it over, where the jesses are coming from, that bird can turn its back on you and feed. That's a big no-no. Or it can feed along the glove. Again, sorry about the wind, guys. I'm trying to do this as it goes along. It can feed along the glove and its tail will splay out over your wrist, damaging those tail feathers. You'll get away with a Harris hawk maybe, certainly not a goshawk, or an imprint that's a little bit feisty around its food. Feeding like this, the bird can only feed by standing correctly on the glove, and it's much more comfortable for the bird to do so. If you've trained or worked with birds before and you've always been holding it between the thumb and forefinger with your glove rotated up this way, it'll take a bit of getting used to swap. It will feel very awkward indeed. You'll get cramp in your fingers. Once you've got used to it, you'll realise the benefits and you won't get cramp in your fingers anymore. Another thing, of course, you can hear the traffic going by. We keep going to openings where you can see cars and things going as well. It's all about introducing to as much new stuff as possible. And now you're feeding on the glove out and about. If the bird's got enough appetite, you can get it manned to a lot more stuff, and it'll be just in the background. Feeding will come first. Certainly coming along really well. Another little nugget of information that's popped into my head. If you're going to wear the same hat, the same clothes, the same coat, whenever you're out hawking, fine. Most of us don't. We wear different clothes depending on the weather. Don't just wear the same stuff every time you work with your hawk. Again, immerse it from the beginning. Sorry about the wind noise. Again, immerse it from the beginning. Put a different hat on. That's so annoying. Put different clothes on, different colour clothes. It has facial recognition. It will recognise you, whatever you're wearing. But if you fall in the trap of always wearing the same stuff, it could easily get very nervous of you should you put on a different kind of hat, a different coloured top. All this immersive behaviour at the beginning, this immersive manning, this is when this bird is like a sponge to new stuff.